G'day and welcome to this week's FriBaT, Friday Beers and Tools with Andy. Sorry we missed out on Easter last weekend, but Easter. Anyway, let's get on with this week. This week we have an interesting brew. This is the Mind Harvest brew from the Colossal Brewing Company. That's a pretty colossal name they've got there. This is a super popular East Coast style ale with its bold and hazy deliciousness, its juicy with lip-smacking bitterness, its complex explosion of mango and citrus intense fruitiness, finishing with a fresh, dry hop taste. Let's hope it's better than last FriBaT's beer because that was a shocker. So this is classed as an IPA. It is 1.8 standard drinks because it is 6% alcohol. All right. He's hoping it's a good one. Happy Friday. Well, first impressions, it's a damn sight better than last FriBaT's, I can tell you right now. Definitely some citrusy flavours there, but not overpowering. Yep, just the right amount of bitterness. Again, a nice IPA with just a little bit of bitterness is good. Complex explosion of mango. I haven't got any mango out of it. Pretty good beer. Yeah, that's quite drinkable. It's quite a nice IPA. Definitely and what they call an East Coast style, so it's got more fruitiness to it, I guess you'd say, like the East Coast. I don't mind that at all. That's actually a solid 4 spanners for me. Finally, a nice beer. Alrighty, we have an eBay purchase this week, and I did actually buy this one a little while ago. This is a Mustool Heat gun, and comes in plain brown box. Comes with pretty decent instructions. Comes with a broad head for heat gun work and a curved head for especially good for heat shrink work. Now, I'm one of those YouTubers that really hates it when people use lighters to heat shrink. Yeah, got that right. And everyone knows about my love for Makita LXT 18 volt range and my love for the Milwaukee 12 volt range. The only reason why I haven't got into the 18 volt range is because I've already got the LXT range and Makita range. So Makita started advertising an LXT 18 volt heat gun, and funnily enough it looks very much like this one. It has only just been released into Australia, into the Australian market, and on pre-release, I believe it's now on our market, and it is a DHG 181, and it is $219, which is a fair bit for a heat gun. So I was looking on eBay, and look, we all know my hatred, and yet I seem to buy a lot of, for Chinese tools. Well, this is a Chinese knockoff of Makita's new heat gun. In fact, like all of these Chinese knockoffs, it takes the standard Makita battery. Rightio. So, this one here, instead of $219 Australian, hang on, this cost me a whole $58 US. So, I can't remember what that converted to Australia. I'll put it up here. And I thought, for less than $100, I'm going to give it a go. Because, like I said, I hate watching people use cigarette lighters to heat shrink. And having a cordless heat gun would be very handy to add to my tool kit, being an electrician and technician. So, when I found this on eBay, it has very similar specs to the Makita version. So whether or not it works as well and I'm not going to go out and buy a Makita gun unless this one dies very, very quickly. But the specs are very similar. In fact, I'll put it up on the screen.
Lies. Oh, lies!
Whilst I talk about it. This Mustool, they say, has 2500 watts of power with a maximum temperature of 650 degrees C, which incidentally is higher than what Makita rate. It has 2 levels and is done with a high-low switch on top of the tool, which I believe is the same as Makita. And that also adjusts the fan volume. At low level, it will produce 200 litres per minute at a maximum temperature of 400 degrees.
Lies.
And on the high level, it will produce 550 litres per minute at a maximum temperature of 650 degrees Celsius. Now, let's just have a quick look at the specs for the Makita. And they say it has 2-stage airflow of 120 and 200 litres per minute. That's interesting. Much, much lower. And a maximum temperature of 550 degrees. So that's very interesting. It does have a lock-on trigger, which is the same as this unit. And yes, so similarities, but in fact the Chinese Mustool version so far is actually ahead of Makita's.
Lies.
Now remember, these are claims, and I'm not going to do any testing today about airflow or temperatures or anything like that. This is merely just an introduction, see what it's like, and see whether it's worth the $100 odd Australian, bit less, that I paid. All right, so as I said, it takes all of the Makita 18 volt batteries, and I'm trying out with a 4 ampere hour. So it's on the high setting, and it is actually a three-way. So it's got a trigger lock, so you have to push the trigger lock to the side, and then you can turn it on. Once you've turned it on, it's actually got a button to hold it on. Now, if that's the high setting, that ain't a lot of air pressure, but it is bloody hot. Yep, I can't hold my hand there. Alright, let's switch it over to the low setting, and definitely slows the airflow down. Temperature feels very similar. Maybe I should have got my temperature gauge out. That is more than happily going to do what I needed to do, which, like I said, is heat shrink, and I'm not connected to my power cable as I would be for my Makita 240 volt heat gun. So wow, so far. Now, as I said, I haven't got the Makita version, so I'm not going to do a back-to-back comparison. I'm sure someone will do that at some stage. Looks wise, it is very similar, and again, I'll put a picture up here of the Makita version. The nozzle assembly is slightly different. The Makita has a tool belt holder at the back here. Meh, really. The Makita comes with 4 nozzles. Okay, picture of the nozzles that the Makita has up here, and as I mentioned, the Mustool only comes with the 2. Really, most of the time you only need those 2, although the reduction nozzle is quite a handy one as well. But quite possibly my Makita corded one will actually fit this. It looks very similar design. The Makita original also has a its 2-speed unit switch is down on the front here, and it does have a dial at the back, and it comes with a blow mold case. Yeah, all right. So $219 for the Makita, probably not that bad really when you think about it, but for less than half the price, I've now got a portable heat gun. Will it last? Meh, it's Chinese, don't know. Wonder how well it melts that. Oh yeah, yeah, melts plastic quite easily. Should have brought some heat shrink in to show you. Look, obviously I'm not reviewing the Makita. Time for more beer. This unit was good because it fitted with my Makita ecosystem, and the 18 volt definitely is better for high current applications such as a heat gun. So let's talk about the verdict on the Mustool, doesn't even have a part number, Mustool rework station. That's interesting. The airflow that they mention on the actual Mustool itself is much different to the information that they provided. That makes a lot more sense. So in the information in the ad, so really false advertising, they said that it had two air levels, 200 litres per minute and 550 litres per minute. On the actual tool, it has 109 and 190 litres per minute, which, 550 litres a minute is a hell of a lot of airflow, and that's what I said when I first turned it on to high. It ain't that much airflow. Interestingly too, the temperature also doesn't agree with what they've said. In fact, the two settings are on the tool 288 degrees C and 532 degrees C. So now that probably is a lot more accurate, or a lot more closer to what this tool is capable of, given that the Makita is capable of 550 degrees. It seemed very strange to me that the cheap Chinese knockoff could put out another 100 degrees and they said it did 650 degrees. I call BS on that. So a little bit of false advertising there, but you can see there is a label on the unit there, and that's where I've got those second figures from. Again, is that a big issue for me? Look, I wanted an 18 volt cordless heat gun. I wasn't really too stressed about the max temperatures, etc. 650 degrees is bloody high if I'm doing heat shrink. I guess it'd be good if you're doing paint removal or something like that. But again, you're going to go through batteries really quickly, I imagine, with this. And in fact, that was a fully charged battery, and it's already dropped one spot on its indicator. So yeah, aside from the fact that the false advertising on eBay, who would have thought, I'm pretty happy with this little tool. For less than $100 Australian delivered, I'm happy. It does have an LED light too, like all other Makitas. So let's get down to ratings. Look, I think value for money for a cordless heat tool that fits in with my ecosystem, my LXT ecosystem, it's a 5 out of 5 for me for value for money. Less than $100, I've now got a portable cordless heat gun instead of having to rely on getting out an extension cord, getting out the 240 volt heat gun. I'm pretty impressed with it from value perspective. Functionality, look, I think the specifications written on the unit are much closer to what it's really capable of, as opposed to the BS that is written in the eBay ad. So again, though, it fits in very closely with what Makita's claims are for their more than double the price tool. And again, perfect for what I'm going to use it for. So really, for functionality, so far, unless it fails really quickly, it's a 5 out of 5 for functionality for me as well. Pretty happy. Alrighty, well that's it for this week's FriBaT. Hope you enjoyed that. I hope you had a great Easter where you are, wherever you are in the world. And we will have some more house videos coming up very soon. I am absolutely dog-tired today. I've been digging a trench. Who would have thought that retiring I'd be digging trenches? Anyway, trench dug for power for my shed, so we're getting somewhere. Anyway, thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you again next Friday for another beer with me. Cheers.